Hi everyone, and welcome to the class. Thank you very much for joining us. First off, I'd just like to tell you that now you've pressed play, you shouldn't have to rewind the class or fast forward. All the breaks and the bits for you to try stuff are built into the class. So it may be that you're kind of quite fast at doing things. So if you are, feel free to have a little chat. So there is a comments box just underneath here. That's not always the easiest way to comment, and people are finding that actually the messenger box that we set up before the class is a bit easier. The other good thing about the messenger box is that you can also share your photos of what you're up to. So that's nice because it gives people a sense of, again, being together, and people can see what their classmates are doing and how they're getting on. And also the tutor can have a look as well. So the tutor is here, so do use them and ask them sort of any questions that you might have. So there's a bit in the film that you're not clear of or you're struggling with, do sort of put those questions to them, and they're there to do that. So it's an added bonus on, just an online tutorial. If you're a little bit slower and you like to take your time over things, then at the end of each doing session, which is marked by a clock, you will find that there's a buzzer that goes off. So please do come back and join us, because again, it's kind of trying to keep everyone together in the same class doing the same thing at the same time, roughly. Yeah, and if you then want to recap, or there's a bit that you've missed, the videos are going to stay online for the near to foreseeable future, so you can always go back and have a little look at those again, and also share them on with anyone that you think might enjoy it too. I think that's probably about it from me, so I will hand over to myself, which is a bit odd, or maybe to one of our guest tutors. All right, enjoy. So today we're going to be making some models out of plastic bottles. So I've got a few examples, but you will kind of use your own imagination really, and let the bottle dictate kind of what you make as well. I'll show you how to make a head like this, I think, today. And you could mount it on wood or whatever you wanted to do with it, or they're actually quite good because you can put your finger in and have them as little sort of weird little finger puppets. But before we started, I just wanted to talk about the anatomy of a bottle, and the best way of kind of starting to sort of cut into it and to use it, and also just a little bit about why we're using plastic bottles. So plastic like this, so it's called single-use plastic. So as the name suggests, it's used once to keep your milk in, and then once you've kind of used it, it's put in the recycling bin, hopefully, or maybe into the black bin, in which case it ends up in landfill, which is not quite so great. So, but lots of this every year ends up in the sea, and that could be by it blowing away down the street and ended up in rivers, or it could be by these bottles being sent somewhere to be processed and not being processed properly, and ending up in rivers in a different country. But we know that this kind of plastic is ending up inside sea life's belly, so it's not kind of great. So what we're aiming to do with this is to take a bottle that maybe just used once, and have it so that you can keep it and love it and have it and use it for a bit longer. So the bottle, plastic is really like this, it's really hard to get any glues for, it doesn't really stick. So what I'm going to teach you is how to stick it without using any glue as well. So the bottle has lots of different bits in it, and some bits are tougher, like the bottom and the handle, because you need to be able to pick it up without it going all wobbly, and some bits are a bit softer, like this bit in the middle, and sometimes this bit over here is quite soft. So you'll find different bits of plastic. So if you just wildly sort of stab at your bottle like that with the scissors, probably quite likely that you're gonna slip off and you're gonna hurt yourself. So the best way to cut into it is to find a soft bit, squeeze it, and make yourself a little hole So you can see now you've got a hole, hopefully big enough to get your scissors into, and then you can cut the bits out that you want. So I think what we're probably going to do is we're going to just chop it into usable bits. So we're going to chop along this line. So the useful thing about bottles also is that they have all these kind of marks on them, so you can use those as your inspiration. So you've got to, when you're using recycle things, you can't force it to do something it doesn't want to do. It's been melted into this particular shape. So as I go along, I'll just sort of talk about some of the uses of things. So if you wanted to stop there, you can use that as, put some holes in the bottom and use it as a planter. I've also used two, so you get two of these and another one, and you use them as pen pots and bits of trinkets and things, because you can squeeze the other, so this won't work quite as well, but you could squeeze the top in like that. So you can have another one of those. So even with that, you're kind of creating something just from one cut. So this is the bit that I tend to use the least. It's a little bit kind of hard, so we might chop that bit off as well. So we'll have a little, so it's a little bit like being sort of like a butcher with an animal, really, I think, a plastic bottle. So you're finding all the best cuts within your bottle. So I tend to chop this bit off like that. And then that bit, you've got another little tray, like a little pen pot, and then you could tidy it up. You can colour them. The best thing for colouring them is actually Sharpie pens. They kind of stay on quite well, and then once you've coloured it, you can varnish it with some clear nail varnish. I've used that before now. So you can colour it and make a nice little pot. So we had the big pot, we've got a little trinket pot. Now we've got this bit, which is lots of nice usable plastic there. So we've got that bit. This bit's useful, so especially for making things like birds and things. You can already see there you've got kind of like the bird shape, so we'll cut that out. So we won't cut it too short at the moment, because we're not exactly sure at this point what we're going to use it for, but we'll cut that bit. This bit is really tough, so you might need to get someone else to help you with that bit. So we'll cut that bit, we've got that bit. The round bit, depends what kind of things you're looking for. I tend to not use it within my sculptures because it's a bit sort of, I don't know why. I've used it in one. Let me show you. I've used it in this one as an eye. So I've used it in that one for an eye, but I don't tend to use it very often. Probably because the scale is not always right, and you're sort of forcing it to look like something it's not really. So you might want to chop that bit out and keep that to use within what you're doing. So we've got that bit. And then we've got sort of lots of flat usable plastic in here, which I think we'll kind of, for now, we'll leave like that. So you've kind of, first thing is to sort of dismantle your bottle into those kind of, into those shapes. So cut it down around the middle, chop off, make a big pot, chop the bottom bit off. Actually, it could be used as a little tray. It's also useful as you're making stuff to use the little tray to put all your bits and bobs of really tiny bits in, because all these little bits are really quite dangerous if they get into the sea and things. So they're sort of when they're talking about microplastics, it's kind of broken down plastic like that that's getting in and getting into birds' bellies and things. So it's important to keep all those safe, because we're going to try and either reuse those or make sure that they're disposed of correctly. So you've got that, you've chopped off that bit, you've got your round bit, and you've got this bit, which we're going to keep like that for now. So just a quick tip, if some people find it quite difficult using scissors, because they kind of use the ends like that, and they're not always the sharpest bit, so make sure that your scissors are right up in the middle, and you'll probably find it a bit easier to cut with those. Ooh, chop that bit off. Okay, so have a go at that, and I shall come back in a bit.
Everyone else has let me down. How can I have faith in you? Searching through the lost and found. She said, leave the fears behind the door. You can't worry about before. Leave the fears behind the door till you know in your heart.
Okay, so as you've been chopping out your bits, you've probably started to imagine that some of the bits are going to be useful. So you might think, oh, I want to keep that bit because that's going to be really handy as a head and a beak or something like that. And there'll be other bits that you think, I don't really know kind of what I'd do with that. So we need some little connectors. So if you choose the bit that you don't think is going to be useful to you, or if you don't want to use any of these bits, you want to keep them sort of safe, and you might think you might use all of them, then you could get yourself another bottle and get some other bits and things. So there's plenty of milk bottles around, so we don't have to be too precious with the material, and it's free as well, you know, once we've kind of paid for the milk and used the milk. So what we need to do is we need to get some flat bit of plastic. So I'm going to use this bit. So we want to get some flat bits. So flat bits of plastic. So these are really handy for making into sort of little transparent kind of window chimes as well. So like I said before, if you get the Sharpie pens and do some drawing on them, and then you can varnish them, they look really kind of quite nice and things, and you can hang them in the window, cut them to different shapes and things. So another use of them as well. So, but what we're going to use them for today is to make our little connectors. So we need to get strips of plastic. So strip about a centimetre maybe wide. So, and then we're going to fold that in half. And we're going to cut to, not right to the end, but just in a little bit. So you're cutting over double the thing, and you're going to do 2 cuts like that. Bring that up so you can see it a bit better, hopefully. So you've got 2 cuts, and then you're going to cut out like that to the corners. So, and the reason we fold it over is because then it will end up sort of mirrored on both sides, and when we open it out, see, we've got that kind of shape is what we're after. So, and when we open it out, we've got a little sort of thing that can hold your bottle, so like a little bow tie kind of thing. So with narrow bit in the middle and some kind of bigger bits which will go through the hole, and then like the kind of split peas, if you, not split peas, split pins that you put and you make things out of. So, but you're making them yourself out of the very material you're using. So let me show you how that kind of works. So if we've got a piece of plastic that we want to join up, maybe we want to make it into a cylinder like that. So we use a normal hole punch. I was quite surprised, this is just a cheap one, that they actually do really easily go through the plastic. And we do a hole on that side and a hole on the bit that maybe we want to, so we could give it a bit of twist and do the hole there, so it's got a bit of a sort of twisted shape. So I used to use try and use glue. There are kind of certain glues that will stick this, but I found that actually even after a while, even if they had stuck it and you'd held it together really tightly to kind of hold it together, it would just pop apart eventually. So whereas this doesn't seem to do that. So you need to make sure your holes are sort of far enough from the edge that you've got a little bit of plastic on either side and it's not going to split. And the way we attach things is we roll this up, fiddly bit, but we need to get that big bit through the hole. So again, like if you choose which bit of your plastic you use, I've used quite a hard bit here. There will be within the bottle, there'll be slightly softer bits of plastic you can use, which will make this a bit easier. You need to try and get it through your hole. So you might need a little bit of assistance with this bit. Oh, go through. It's hard to do, this bit. See, it's gone through eventually. But the fact that it's hard is what makes it kind of gonna stay and hold your piece together. So we'll go through the hole that way. So you can see it's holding in place. It's not going to go through the hole because the ends are bigger. Ooh. Put it through that bit. Okay, so you're forcing it through. Oh, forcing and pulling and pulling and forcing. Get some help if you need it, but eventually you'll kind of probably do a much easier job than I'm doing. You could get a pair of pliers as well, maybe to grab hold of it and pull it through. It's a bit easier. There we go. Okay, so now you can see it's holding your piece together. So if you want to have a little gap, then you've got a longer bit, you keep a longer bit in the middle, but you can cut these little fasteners smaller than that, and then it will hold it together more. So if you do them a bit smaller, so you can cut sort of several fasteners, all of different sizes. So what you're basically doing is you're making yourself like a little Connect 4 or kind of Lego kit, so with lots of different connectors like that. Or the other thing you can do, if you want that to come round and connect together, if you've got a big enough bit at the end, I don't know if I have here, so is to, this is tricky because you have to make sure that the hole is going to go in the middle, which I haven't managed. Okay, so you could make a little hole like that. Let's try again on this one. This one's a bit bigger. So, yep, okay, so the hole's gone in the middle, and you can put that through the hole. I usually do this sitting down, but I'm doing it standing up. That's my excuse. And you'll probably do much better, so you can push that through that hole. And then it becomes sort of like a cable tie, and it will hold it. Come through, there you go. So you can see it's, and pull that out so it's not going to go back through. So then that will hold in place. So you can start connecting bits together like that. So much better than glue. You're not using nasty chemicals, just using the bottle itself, and it just kind of works better. So next bit is to make sort of maybe 10 of these. So different sizes with different long bits in the middle. And find your, and out of different bits of the bottle. So I forgot particularly this one. Each bottle, so there we go, there's a bit that's kind of a bit more floppy and things. So find some floppy bits, find some harder bits, and make some of those for your next bit to connect everything together. Right, off you go.
1, 2, 3, 4. He looks out upon the ocean, out upon the seas. The clouds are turning black now, he can feel it in the breeze. Oh, she's on his heart. He looks up at his tower, his stake in the ground. It's time to climb this tower and fight the battle now. Oh, she's on his heart. It's been so long since we were together. Whoa, tonight let's put our hearts back together. Whoa, she looks out upon the ocean, out upon the seas. The clouds are turning black now, she can feel it in the breeze. Oh, he's on her heart. It's time to raise the anchor and set the sail high. It's time to head for home and see the apple of her eye. Oh, he's on her heart. It's been so long since we were together. Whoa, tonight let's put our hearts back together. Whoa, hand in hand, side by side, hand in hand, forever we will be. It's been so long, it's been so long. Tonight let's put our hearts back together.
So whilst you were away, I was just trying out on some different bottles, and you can see the difference. So this is exactly the same bit, and this is from one bottle, and you can sort of see how kind of tough that one is and how floppy and see-through this one is compared. So each bottle that you get is slightly different, so you have to kind of go with what you've got, really. It's one of the things about using recycled things is nothing is completely standardised and the same. So what I'm going to show you now is how to make a basic kind of bird's head. So we're going to take this bit, which was the collar kind of bit that you had, and we're going to cut. You see it's got two lines here, so again useful because we've got lots of lines in bottles and things that we can use, so use the material to its best advantage. And we're going to chop, so on this one, not on all of them, not on this one's kind of more rounded, but on this one it's got another line here and another line there, which is useful. So if you've got those, but if not, you're kind of going sort of a couple of centimetres down from where it bends there. So we're just using the natural bends in the bottle rather than working sort of to try and force our will onto something that's not there. So you can see we've got a flat bit, and what we want is a triangular bit like this. So we're going to cut sort of across these corners. So we're going to chop there, sort of leaving a little bit. So, and it's going from this corner into the middle. So just make sure that you've cut your corners both the same ways. Use your little tray for all these bits because they might come in handy for something else. So you've got a triangular bit here, and we're going to cut just a couple of centimetres from the middle. We're going to cut some lines just going up a little bit, and these will help us to form the shape of our head, because what we can do is we can bring those round, and you see we're starting to get this kind of 3D effect. So if we left it like that, it'd be flat, but this allows us, if you chop little slits into things, it allows you to start bringing things so that they're 3D. And then we're going to use our hole making technique. So you can see from there, it's not an exact science, because I always think it'd be nice if these hole punches were see-through. You can buy kind of ones for punching leather and things, which might kind of work, but I just wanted to use what you might have already in your house. So if they were see-through and you could actually see where the little punch was going, that would be easier, but they're not. So we have to kind of just sort of vaguely guess where we want. So you could mark it with a little pen. So we know we probably want a hole there, and a hole sort of there. So we'll do that one first. We'll go in sort of there, and then roughly the same on the other side. And then we want one. Let's just line those up again. We probably just have one in the middle. We'll do all of them. Let's have a see. So if we wanted it sort of more straight out like that, but if we want it to come quite a lot in, we'd probably be best combining all those holes and having one in the middle. Oh, sort of middle. But as I say, it's not an exact science. So the good thing really about it not being an exact science, I think, is that as you're going along you get some kind of animation to it. So a head, you know, depending on how it's kind of positioned, wouldn't be exactly symmetrical. So what we can see is we've got all those lines sort of lined up there, and you need to put one of your little things through there and through the other side, and then I'll do that because you've already seen me do that, so you don't need to see me struggle with that again. So I'll leave you to do that bit to so just to recap. So we're taking, I'll do it again quickly. So we're taking that bit and that bit, and we're cutting it so it's more triangular shape. We're doing those two little slits there, 1, 2, and then we're working out where we want our holes to be, punching our holes, and then we're getting one of our little fasteners, and we're putting it through. I'm here if it's a live class, if you're struggling with that, because I know it's quite a lot of instructions. They're like, if anyone ever had one of those paper hats when we were kids and things, they were this kind of construction. So, and that's how you start to make your kind of 3D kind of thing. So I leave you to get on with that, and by the wonder of magic and television, by the time I come back, I'll have mine all assembled as well. Okay, so you've got your basic shape. You might want to give it a little trim, some of these bits that are sticking out that don't look great. Maybe that little bit at the bottom, but don't go too mad on trimming because we'll need this to sort of attach onto other things. And then what you might like to do is to create two holes here, which will be eyes, but they'll also bring that together into a more kind of pleasing kind of bird head shape. And they'll allow you as well to stick your beak on here as well also. So we need a hole on this side and roughly the same size side on this side. Sometimes it's hard to get your hole punching. So, and then we need to connect those two together through the middle of there. So, but we'll leave that as it is for now because we might want to attach the beak onto there, so we might want to kind of do that all together. So the other thing is you've got this bit which I said is really useful. So in this model we're going to use it as the neck. So we're going to attach it using this hole here, so you don't need to make any more holes, and a hole here, and we're going to attach it onto there so it makes the same kind of neck for the bird. But something you might want to do to give it more of a kind of feel of kind of bones is to chop that bit off. Maybe we don't need that. And is to cut some little, this is tricky because this bit is tough, but to cut some little triangles in the neck. So, and they go all up one side. And then they go up the other side, but you need to make sure that they don't meet in the middle, otherwise you'll chop a bit of your neck off. So that's the tricky bit. So you want them to go in like that. But as I say, don't meet in the middle, otherwise you'll have chopped that bit of the head off. So yeah, take your time, be careful with this bit, both for your fingers and also that you don't chop right through. So, and that just gives sort of an impression of bones, and it also allows you to kind of articulate the neck a little bit as well, so you can kind of bend it. This is basically how, you know, bones within your own body work, that you'll have bone and you'll have a little bit of cartilage in between, so it allows your kind of spine and things and your neck to kind of move. So yeah, and why it's so painful when you have a slip disc, because it's all out of place. So yeah, we're using the same principles that you would find in the actual animal to create the sculptures. So it's useful as well. Today I'm just going to show you some of the things that go into making this particular head, but it's useful to get a picture of a bird or a whale or anything like that, a skeleton of that animal, and to kind of try and work out how you use these techniques that I'm showing you today to make your own model. So I tend to use quite a lot of the bird head kind of design, and this tends to be used as the neck and things, but within that there's kind of lots of variables, different ways you might decide to do it. So once you've got your neck with your bones cut in it, and we need a hole there so that this bit can go and it can get attached onto the head. So that's going to go, that little tag there is going to go through there. You might need to chop a bit off the bottom if it's not fitting quite right. So yeah, because this is quite long, so, but that's why I said don't chop it off straight away, because you don't know whether you might need it or not. So that little bit is going to go in there, and then you've got your neck, you've got your head. This is going to come together a little bit more like this. And the last thing I'm going to show you after you've done this bit is how to sort of extend and kind of add sort of beak bits on as well. So if you do that bit, so cut your little bones and make a little hole in there, attach your neck onto that bit, and then we will come back and we'll just do some last little bits, and I'll talk about kind of some other odd bits and bobs. All right, cheerio.
"7 a.m. and I'm in the car now, coming to find you. We have the day planned out. Won't be long till we get to find out if we really want it, or we need to find out how to make this thing work out. A few hours later and we're heading down south, sun shining through from a breakup in the clouds. Windows roll down and we're screaming out loud words to one of our favorite songs we talked about. And we're running get this far this time around. And we're running, 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 we're running out. We're heading for the hilltops, heading for the hills against the clouds. And we're running, running, running for solid ground. Trying to find our way out, trying to find our way, we're lost and found. And we're running, 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 we're running out. We're heading for the hilltops, heading for the hills against the clouds. And we're running, running, running for solid ground. Trying to find our way out, trying to find our way, we're lost and found.
Okay, so you've got your bit attached to your neck. So just a little tip, this is tricky to get through and things. So if you're struggling, it's not you being rubbish, it's just perseverance and keep trying to get it through. If you really struggle to push it from the outside and through the neck, it might be easier for you to take it apart again and then push it that way through. So take this neck bit, this head bit apart. This is the joy of using these little connectors, is you can take them apart and put it all back together again as you go along and think actually the neck needs to attach onto there, so pull it apart and put it all together that way. Or something you can do as well is just trim the little ends of the wider bit here, but don't trim them too much, because if you trim them too much then it's going to go back through your hole and things. So just trim them enough that you can force it through. So you've got these bits, you've got this weird bit which we'll probably trim at some point, but we'll leave it kind of as it is for now. And I'm just going to show you the last two bits, which is to try and start getting some kind of beak sort of shapes on to extend this head bit. So you've got these flat bits, and we want to try and make them a bit more 3D. So you can sort of again working with the plastic, so you can see it's already got a kind of a natural bend sort of in the middle here, so you can bend your plastic and just press it down and sort of force it to sort of stay in a sort of beaky shape, or a tent, or whatever you want to make out of it. So it will kind of stay in place as long as you're kind of working with what the plastic is sort of already doing. And this is, at the moment, it's square shaped, but we want it to be beak shape. There's also on some bottles this little ridge, which can be useful because that can sort of mimic sort of a natural sort of ridge that you might have on the top of a bird's beak as well. So that's why it's kind of useful sometimes to have your pictures, even if you're sort of making it up as you go along. Get your pictures by the side of you, because you'll think, oh, actually that bottle's got that bit that the beak naturally has. So we're going to attach, this is going to be the top bit of the beak. So depending on your model, you might decide that you think it looks best coming on top of the bird like that, or you might want to put it inside like that. I think on this one I'm going to go for inside. So we need a hole on each side that sort of roughly corresponds with these holes here, so probably about there. And if we do it doubled over, even though that might strain your hole punch a little bit, not too much though, you'll get them sort of evenly on both sides. So, and then what we need to do is to put that in and get one of our tags, so it's going through each of the holes, through the beak, and then it's attaching onto there. So I'll leave you to, no, I won't leave you to do that. I'll show you the next bit, which is to do the bottom beak in exactly the same way. So if you look on pictures, you might find that the bottom beak of certain birds is quite a different shape than your other one. so it doesn't need to exactly match. So some birds have kind of like a kind of hook on this bit, so you might want to sort of create that kind of shape. So that could almost be the, so which way are we going? We'll go that way, so it's got the bit at the end if we decide to use that. And oh, sorry, wrong way, so cutting out from there to make the triangle. So there we go, and we need some holes in that, but let's just see where we want those, because this bit of the beak is going to attach. I think back here. Yeah, I think the best place for this bottom bit of beak is to attach onto here and here. So we need a hole there and there and there. And there. And evenly on this side. Okay, so next bit is to attach that bit of beak onto there and there, and that bit of beak onto there. Okay, and if you find that, you know, your beak is sort of the wrong shape, you can give it a little trim and things. If you think actually that bottom beak would look better, so here you can kind of move them around and have a bit of a fiddle and things. So I'll leave you to put those bits of beak on, and then we will come back again.
Once we get to walk upon this earth, twice we get to make a mistake and learn. 3 times is enough to realize you're stronger than all of your doubts. And for me, live your days like every second counts. Fire and be fired at. Wear your love as a shield and a charm. And know not all can be saved, but all can be loved. And for me, live happy here on. Cause when I'm 99 and I'm looking back on my life, I wanna know I made it all that I could have. No, I made some bad decisions, but they made me wiser. And I smile and roll my eyes, think back to all the beautiful times
every second. I'll make every second count. Every second, every second. I'll make every second count. Every second, every second. I'll make every second count. Every second, every second. I'll make every second count. Every second,
Is happy from here on.
every second count.
Your day is happy from here on. Cause when we're 99 and we're looking back on our lives, we wanna know we made it all that we could have. No, we made some bad decisions, but they made us wiser, and we'll smile and roll our eyes and think back to all the beautiful times we've had. And know we made every second count.
Ripples on the wall, a stranger walking by, sat here by the table. Dark clouds in the sky, a breeze blows softly, and the birds will fly by at the table. But still the sun shines so bright. Can you feel the cold air chill tonight? It's alright. As the rain comes falling down, gray clouds are forming all around. As the rain comes falling down, and down. Ripples on the wall, a stranger walking by, standing by the table. Dark clouds in the sky, breeze blows softly, and the birds are flying by at the table. Still the sun shines so bright. Can you feel the cold air chill tonight? So right.
gusta, la gusta, la gusta, la gusta, la gusta, quanta la gusta, la gusta, la gusta, la gusta, la gusta, la gusta. We gotta get going, where are we going, what are we gonna do? We're on our way to somewhere, the three of us and you. What'll we see there, who will be there, what'll be the big surprise? There may be caballeros with dark and flashing eyes. We're on our way, pack up your pack, and if we stay, we won't come back. How can we go? We don't have a dime, but we're going and we're gonna have a happy time. Quanta la gusta, 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 quanta la gusta, la gusta, la gusta, la gusta, la gusta, la gusta. Now someone said he'd just come back from somewhere, a friend of mine that I don't even know. He told me that it's very close to nowhere. If that's the case, that's the place we all should go. We gotta get going, where are we going, what are we gonna do? We're on our way to somewhere, the three of us and you. What'll we see there, who will be there, what'll be the big surprise? There may be caballeros with dark and flashing eyes. I'll take a train.
You take a train.
You take a boat.
I'll take a boat.
You take a plane.
I'll take a plane.
You ride a goat.
You ride the goat.
Oh, we don't care. We'll either walk or climb, but we'll get there and we're gonna have a happy time. Quanta la gusta, 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 quanta la gusta, la gusta, la gusta, la gusta, la gusta, la gusta. Now someone said he'd just come back from somewhere and picked a few petunias in the snow. He told me that it's very close to nowhere. If that's the case, that's the place we all should go. We gotta get going, where are we going, what are we gonna see? We're off to see somebody who's on his way to me. Gonna go your way, I'll go my way, wanna make a little bet? We'll all meet in the country, they haven't found us yet. We're on our way, pack up your pack, and if we stay, we won't come back. How can we go? We don't have a dime, but we're going and we're gonna have a happy, 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 happy. Quanta la gusta, la gusta, la gusta, gonna have a happy time.
Okay, so that was a little bit tricky for me, and as I said before, you can have a pair of pliers, or I actually used a pair of tweezers just to pull one of the little bits through. So, useful tools like that, some little pliers or a pair of tweezers and things help you as well. So you've got your basic shape, you've got your neck, you've got your head, you've got your two beaks. My beak's a bit shorter on the bottom. So what I think I will do, but yours will probably be sort of moving about a bit differently depending on where you've attached it and things, and how long your little tags are. So I'm just going to leave you to have a little play around with it yourself now, because I've shown you all the bits that you need. What I will probably do is I'll put some holes in here and holes in there so it attaches onto there, and I'll probably cut this beak quite a lot shorter as well so that it fits with the kind of bottom beak a little bit better, and I might maybe hook it round like that so it's got a bit of a hooky bit on it. And I'll also chop off these bits because they're not really needed anymore, and then I'll have another look at it and see whether I'm happy with it. I might decide just to leave this as a little head piece, or I might go on to create the body as well using other bottles, other bits. So you can start to see how it kind of all works and how you fit everything together now. If I wanted to connect that bit, I'd have to do some trimming of that, but if I wanted to connect it onto there, I might well just cut a little bit of that flat and put the hole in there and attach it sort of into there. So, but really the best thing is to just have a play with all the bits and pieces that you've got now, really. You know about the tags, you know about the little holes, making the holes, you know how to make some kind of 3D things, you know, about creating bones and things. It's probably been quite tricky and challenging. It is a skill and things. It's sort of like using the old-fashioned techniques of kind of woodwork really, but applying it to this very new and modern material. The only other thing I wanted to say was all your little bits and bobs. As I said before, they can be kind of quite dangerous to the environment, probably more dangerous than just a full bottle that would get taken to the recycling place and recycled. So what I tend to do, because I do a lot of kind of modelling with these, is I put all the bits into one box, and then I'll have a root through and see, oh, that bit's useful for something, and just try and create things that you know, you're creating things out of smaller and smaller bits. So we've made jewellery out of bits, tiny bits like that, and just keep creating until you've used up kind of all your bottle bits. That's one way of approaching it. The other thing to do is to, if you've got really tiny bits that you're not going to use, is to take them and put them inside another bottle, so that they're kind of kept sort of a bit safer, and they can be recycled a bit easier. So rather than just sort of throwing them in to the bin, if you throw them straight into the black bin, they'll probably end up in landfill. If you throw them into your recycling, there's probably a risk that they'll kind of get left at the bottom of the recycling and you know, end up one way or another somewhere where they shouldn't. So yeah, have a go. Do post your pictures of what you create. Keep on going. Like I say, it's a skill. It's not easy to do, but it is much better than using sort of glue and things, which is bad for you, bad for the environment, and doesn't always kind of work very well. So I see some of my sort of ones that I've kind of made and then rejected and things. So you can start to make kind of feathery kind of effects like this. And if you're making, you know, doing this for smaller kids, you can make them all the bits and they can do the fiddly kind of putting through bits, or they can make the bits and you can help them with the pushing the bits through. So yep, and that is probably about it for me. I'm still around for a bit if it's a live class, so do ask me any questions you need. And thank you today for coming and learning about how to make things out of bottles. Cheerio. And I hope you enjoyed the class. Just a quick summing up from me. So thank you very much to our tutor today. Also thank you to all the musicians who inputted music. We are passionate about making sure that we pay musicians for the music that they provide, and also artists for the different tiers that you can use to support the project. So the first one is just $3 a month, and that will with lots of people joining in, allow us to start paying some artists and get some new music on the films as well. And then if you find yourself in a wonderful position of having a little bit more and also want to start collecting some artwork, you can try the £50 tier, and that you'll get a piece of artwork from myself every month. So yeah, thank you very much for coming along. Hope you've enjoyed it. Please do share, and that's it from me. Cheerio.
I can't sleep tonight in this old familiar room. Streetlights hide the night, starlight fills this room. These days are hard in times of trouble. The morning sun breaks to the dawn of a new day. Can I take another hard week? Could I run a little faster? These days are hard in times of trouble. Sat watching satellites fall at your feet. tired that I cannot sleep. Would you stay with me? Will you be my star-crossed lover? Cold wind sunset at the end of a long day. Could I push a little harder? Regrets won't last forever. These days